Hello there, tank commanders of the Blitz universe. It's MajorDangle coming to you from USD4 today. And there is currently a bundle in store right now that inspired me to make a video about the tanks contained in it. And I am talking about this Untamed Fury bundle. It's available for the next 11 days from the time I'm making this video. It costs 12,500 gold. This bundle contains the T26E4, the T26E5, and the T23E3. It also contains the legendary camouflage for all three tanks. You get an avatar, 25 times 5 boosters, 3 garage slots, and all three tanks come fully equipped. Now, 12,500 gold for these tanks is an okay deal in my opinion, but there is a better bundle in store. Unfortunately, on this account, I decided to buy the bundle I want to talk about. So I had to go and get a screenshot from another account to show you. I am talking about the Storming bundle here. This bundle costs 9,500 gold. The only difference between this bundle and the Untamed Fury bundle, other than the price, is you do not get the 25 times 5 boosters and you do not get the T23E3. Now, I do like the T23E3. It has a quick reloading gun. It's a fast tank, but it's really nothing special. It has almost no armor. It's always available in the store, so you're really not missing out on much by not getting it in this bundle. And that kind of goes for all three tanks in this bundle. They come to the store quite often for sale, so you will have opportunities in the future to buy all three tanks. But if you're looking to buy one of these bundles, I would highly recommend the Storming bundle. I think it's the best option out of the three. So I like to keep my videos fairly short, and I already made a video on the T26E5. So on this video, we're going to focus on the T26E4. Now, I might be a little biased when it comes to this tank because this was one of my first collector premium tanks in the game, and I kind of fell in love with it, and it's just a great tank in my opinion. One thing about this tank, it has the best credit coefficient in the game at 190%. This is an amazing credit earning tank. If you play this tank in Big Boss or really any mode, you're going to earn credits with it. So we can make our way over to Armor Inspector here. You can see I got the T26E4 Super Pershing loaded up. This tank features spaced armor. What that means is there is an extra layer of armor over the hull or any part of the tank that has spaced armor. So essentially 2 layers of armor. And as you can see head on, this tank has very good armor. It would be very hard for many tanks to penetrate it even head on. The upper plate on the hull has 262 millimeters, and the lower plate even has 270 millimeters. This is very good for an American tank. Most American tanks have a weak hull, but the Super Pershing has a very nice, strong hull. But as you can see here, the turret has quite a few weak spots. You got these few spots with the spaced armor at 243 millimeters and around the gun 307 millimeters. But you got all these yellow spots here where you will be able to be penetrated by the enemy team. You got 150 millimeters there, 120 millimeters there, 115 there. Your hatch is not the strongest hatch at 149 millimeters. So what I would recommend, if an enemy is shooting at you and you are reloading, just wiggle your turret back and forth, raise your gun up in the air, lower it down. You will get extra bounces here or there. It really does help in battle. But I would also recommend you play this as a hull down tank, even with that amazing armor that you have on the front of the tank. It has 10 degrees of gun depression. What that means is you can poke over those hills and poke over those rocks, whatever, and look down at the enemy team with that 10 degrees of gun depression. And this is what the enemy team will see: 378 millimeters on the upper plate of the hull. You still have these weak spots on the turret here though. So again, wiggle your turret back and forth. It really helps. You will get extra bounces in battle. So just like most tanks, the sides and the rear are not very well armored. You should not be showing your sides and the rear to the enemy team anyways. Just face the enemy head on with this tank. So going back to the game here, we can look at all the other stats for this tank here. It features 1,456 hit points, and we just looked at the armor. And you got to keep in mind that this does not show the spaced armor for this tank. This just shows the normal hull and turret armor. So on the front, you have 107 millimeters of turret armor. The sides has 80 millimeters, and the rear has 80 millimeters on the turret. The hull has 187 millimeters in the front, 80 millimeters on the side, and 53 millimeters on the rear. This is, again, a very well armored tank. I think if you give this a little bit of an armor buff and a better gun, you could play this tank as a heavy. But the gun on this tank is still fairly good at a damage per minute of 2,071 hit points and a fairly decent reload time of 6.52 seconds. You have an average penetration for AP rounds of 221 millimeters, for APCR rounds 271 millimeters, and HE rounds 49 millimeters. You have an average damage for AP rounds of 225 hit points, APCR rounds 190 hit points, and high explosive rounds 270 hit points. You have a pretty good aim time at 3.9 seconds. And of course, we already talked about the gun depression of 10 degrees. You have a gun elevation of 20 degrees. And this is a medium tank, but it is a pretty slow medium. But it's a trade-off for that extra armor that you do have on this tank. I think it's a pretty good trade-off, even though the tank is pretty slow. It says you have a top speed of 40 kilometers an hour and 18 kilometers an hour in reverse. Now, you're probably not going to hit this 40 kilometers an hour too often in game unless you're going downhill. You have an average speed of 29 kilometers an hour. Again, just not a very fast tank. So we got a couple replays we'll take a look at here. The first is on Mayan ruins. Enemy team has a Type 68, a WT, Action X, a LOA, STG, a T26E4, and a WZ-132. They got a pretty decent lineup. Our team has a IS-8, an Object 84, a Progetto 46, an SMB 64, and an ST1, STA1, and a T26E4 Predator, and a Skoda T56. Not a bad lineup for our team as well. So on this map, on medium side, I tend to go to this little hill right there in the middle, because as you see, you can get those easy, cheap shots at all those tanks crossing right there. And again, I am hull down in this tank right now, so we get a nice bounce off the enemy Action X. But at this point, we notice all the enemy team is on medium side, so we are in a pretty dangerous spot there, and I wanted to get out of there pretty quickly. But still, I wanted to support our team, so I make my way around onto this bridge. And this is a pretty OP spot on this map. As you can see, you get all kinds of shots on the enemy team. You can look over both sides of that map and get those shots off on the enemies. And of course, the 10 degrees of gun depression helps a lot. I'm getting easy shots on this WT here. If I was a better player, I would have switched to HE shells right away, but I just switched to them on this last shot, and we get a nice 262 shot into the enemy WT. Now, I know that Action X is somewhere, and he's probably creeping up behind me here, but we're still getting shots off into the T68 there, the Type 68, and there he is. That's the Action X creeping up behind us here. So we get a bad shot into him. and he gets a nice 168 shot into us. But we're going to try to outplay him here. Even though this tank isn't the fastest, we still make our way around him and get a nice missed shot from him and a nice shot into him. The Action X is a very good tank, so this must not be the greatest player here because he should have been able to kill me. But we get a nice bomb shot off him and we clear him at the same time. But unfortunately, we take a shot from the Type 68 there. And now the teams are equal at 3 players each. So looking at the enemy T26E4 there, you can see the armor profile on this tank is pretty darn good. That lower plate is a little bit weak, but again, keep this tank hull down, you should be fine. So we already racked up 2,900 damage here. Not too terrible. We get one more shot into the enemy Type 68, but unfortunately he does clear us. So we get 3,200 damage out this battle. And our only teammate left is the IS-8, and he seems to be doing pretty good. He has 1,500 hit points left. We try to give him some nice encouragement. You got this, IS-8. So he could win this battle. He has the hit points to win this battle. And he's playing pretty smart here. He's trying to make the enemy team poke at him, which is a smart decision in my opinion. So he gets a nice shot off into the enemy STG there, brings him down to 89 health. But unfortunately, he takes a shot from the Type 68. IS-8 has a little bit of a long reload here, but he's going to make his way back up the hill and clear the enemy STG. Now, he should be able to win this battle. He has the hit points, but unfortunately, he takes a shot from the Type 68 there. And I'm not sure if he's not able to penetrate the Type 68 or not, or if that was just a bad shot. But it was a bit unfortunate. So he's backing down now. And unfortunately, he gets another shot off, but does not clear the enemy Type 68, and he does die. But it was still a good battle. Even a defeat, even if it's a good battle, you know, it makes a defeat better. So we come out with 3,200 damage, 570 block damage. A third class, even for a defeat, is not bad. And again, this tank has a 190% credit coefficient. Even for that loss, we still come out 60k credits ahead. And top on team, and the enemy team did really good that battle too, so we didn't do too bad. So we'll back out of here and we'll move into the next battle. I'm not exactly sure how to say this map's name. Molendijk? I think that's right. I don't know. So the enemy team has an AT-15, a Centurion, ISU-152, a Type 77, and an E-10, a Gravedigger, and a Jag Panther. So they got a pretty solid lineup. Our team has an ISU-152, a KA-2, and a T26E4, a T28, a Challenger, an E-10, and a Panther. So of course we're making our way over to medium side here, and right away I kind of make a mistake. I go up to this little house instead of going down into that little valley there where I would normally go with this tank. But as you can see, my teammates are pretty far behind me there, so I have really no support. I kind of wanted to stay up here by this house. And I make another mistake. If you're by this house, it's all right, unless you go up to that corner that I was just at, because the enemy tank destroyers that are sitting back there most of the time, they'll be able to get shots off at you there. But on this side of the house, they will not be able to get shots. So if you just stay here, you should be fine. So finally our teammate, the T28, comes and helps us here. And we get a nice trap shot into the enemy Centurion there. So we got that ISU 152 looking at us here. But this is the spot I should have gone at the beginning of the battle. See how it's hauled down, and we get a nice 400 bounce off that enemy ISU 152. And we get a nice track shot into him. And with that nice 6-second reload, we get another shot into the enemy ISU. And unfortunately, our K2 eats our shot there, but that's all right. So we're down to 294 health now because we took a shot from the enemy AT there. But we get a nice 300 bounce. And it looks like this Gravedigger wants to finish us off, but we get our shell out first and finish him off. So again, we're playing a little bit more cautious now, keeping our hull hidden because it's a lot harder to hit our turret like that. As you see, another nice 300 bounce from the enemy AT-15. Unfortunate we did not pen that shot, but we could have aimed a little bit better on that shot. But we get our next shot into the enemy Jag Panther there. And another nice shot, bringing them down to 111 hit points. And our T28 clears the enemy Jag Panther. So we know that K2 is going to finish off that AT-15 fairly easy. So we're going to come help the heavy side with the E10 over here. And we get a nice side shot into him, and he sees us up here. So now we got to play a little cautious so we don't die. But we get another nice shot into him, and we use our adrenaline reload boost, which I recommend you use as much as you can in battle if you're getting shots off onto the enemy team. So hoping to get that next shot off and kill the E10, but we don't. But that's all right. We have 3,500 damage racked up, and the enemy T-77 is the final tank to fall. So another nice, good victory in this tank. I hope these two battles showed that even in the hands of an average player like myself, this tank is pretty good. I mean, we come out with a nice 3,500 damage, a first class, blocked 1,100 damage, destroyed one enemy tank. Not too bad. Again, this tank has a great credit coefficient of 190%, so we come out with 159,000 credits off of that battle. Top on the team and top on both teams. We did pretty good. So again, this tank is a pretty good tank in the hands of an average player like myself. If you're a good player, a better player than I am, this tank could be very dangerous. So I hope I covered most of what I wanted to cover about this tank. I guess one thing I forgot is nice little pretty lady painted on the side of the tank there. That's pretty nice. But I hope I covered all the basics about this tank that I wanted to cover in this video. If I missed anything, please leave it in the comments, and please leave a like and subscribe. And thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.